Oh, life. You know, it's funny. They say that every breath you take is a step closer towards death. Well, that means every time I breathe the oxygen in the air, I am just one step closer to die. And that's the funny thing, isn't it? The thing that we need to live, it kills us at the same time. Oh, death. The thing about death is sweet. Death can be so unbearable, especially when one has so much pain. And like it all, it is something that we all have to go through. Death. Well, you can blame that to the first man on earth. Death. Let me tell you a story. My father was a drinker and a thief. Every time he would come home late at night, he would bang the door because he doesn't have the keys. He always loses the keys. And he would confine himself in the kitchen, looking for something to calm his drunkenness. And my mother would aid him to his needs. But he would always shout and screams, and the neighbors would complain. Mother tries to calm him down, but Daddy just slaps Mother. He would punch Mother. He'd shout at Mother, blaming Mother that it was all her fault. And I would just watch them from across the room as I stared and gazed upon Daddy beating Mother. But Daddy doesn't like that. Daddy doesn't want me to see the violence. But the thing is, I want to see the violence. And every night it is the same thing. My mother gets beat up by my father every night. My father keeps on shouting. I could barely get some sleep. And every morning my mother would whimper, and I would look at her and see how much pain that was caused upon her. Oh, so weak, so fragile. Oh, she could barely crawl, let alone walk. But then, one night, Daddy started shouting, and I woke up. I went to find Daddy, and I found him in Mother's room. And what I saw was a knife that was in my mother's heart. She killed herself. Daddy wasn't too happy about it. And she said this to me about Mother. She was a bitch anyway. And that's what she said to Mother. My mother. And I couldn't bear the thought that she left us. She abandoned us. She abandoned it was just me and father left all alone. And a few weeks later, my father comes back home, drunk, worse than usual. And he starts banging at my door, shouting at my name. I open the door, and he starts grabbing me by the arm, and he starts pulling me to the kitchen. And I wondered, what did I do wrong? And then he started shouting at me. Tears began to fall from my eyes. And he punched me. I fell to the ground. But that's not all. He started kicking me. Kicking! He shouted and screamed at me. He cursed me. And he blamed me for mother's death. And then he stopped and he left me in the kitchen all alone, like as if nothing happened. And at that moment on, I realized this was the exact same thing of what he did to mother. And from that night on, I started getting beat up by him, by my own father, and he shouted and thrown to the ground by him. Every night was a torturing nightmare. And then one night, he came back home, sobering, and I was ready for him to beat me up. But I couldn't stand it anymore. I couldn't stand any more pain. It was unbearable. I can't take any more suffering. I wanted to kill myself, just like what mother did. But then a thought came to mind. Why kill myself? Why not kill father? And so I decided to grab the knife from the kitchen, and I walked slowly to my father, unaware that I was right behind him, and I started getting closer and closer and closer, and just I was right behind him. Without a thought of mine, I stabbed him in the back. Oh, he started screaming in agony. And I pulled the knife out, and I put it in and out, in and out, in and out. I ripped off his intestines. I plunged the knife into his heart. He tried to stop me, but he could not. I slice until every part of his organ comes out. And it happened so fast. By the time I realized, oh, what have I done? I just killed my own father. And that's the thing about death. The thing about death is that you can't kill something when it's already dead. You see, I'm not a monster. I'm not a killer either. I didn't kill my father because he was already dead to me long ago. And from that moment on, with daddy gone, mother gone, I was left all alone. And that was the day that my life have ended. And that's the thing about death is, you see, death. We were already dead before we die.